Welcome to the show. This is Internet Uncapped. I am your host, Evan. Joining me, as always, is Mitchell. Today, we are talking about the biggest news story on the internet as of this recording. We are talking about Ethan Klein suing iDubbbz for defamation. We have a lot of things to go over. A lot of developments have happened. People have been weighing in on this development. But before we get into any of that, Mitchell is going to give us a lot of background as of the developments that have been occurring, a lot of the context for a lot of Ethan's previous lawsuits, among many other things. So Mitchell, take it away and tell the people what exactly is going on.
Yeah, so this all started years and years and years ago, where Ethan Klein and Hassan Piker had a podcast called the Leftovers Podcast. And for years, prior to that, people were telling Ethan, hey, listen, Hassan, really controversial figure. You got to be careful. There's a lot of things that is going on. You got it, like, with him, you got to be careful with him. There's a lot, and he gets a lot of eyes on him, which is true. Hassan is, when it comes to political content, he's number 2 on Twitch behind Asmongold for the most viewed political streamer. Like, these are facts.
Mm-hmm.
They had a falling out, and after they had a falling out, people in Hassan's orbit began to attack Ethan Klein because they were spreading that he had certain political views that we're not going to get into. But these certain things led to calls with CPS. And the calls with CPS, what they were trying to say is that Giardia was spreading throughout the house and the kids were eating dog feces off the floor, which is disgusting. Mm-hmm. While this was going on, iDubbbz, or Ian Jomha, and Anissa Jomha were trying to get cozy with bread tubers such as Hassan and everyone in his orbit, like Denims, Frogan, Kaceytron, Shonda Black, Noah Samson, etc. And the reason why is because I blame more of that on Anissa. I think Anissa, like we've said before, I think she has a very elementary way of breaking things down. For example, race car drivers. When it comes to the guys that do F1 racing, people think, oh, you just got to drive and not crash. That's how Anissa would break it down. Well, these guys go through resistance training for their necks and stuff like that. Like, they tie weights that pull them this way, so their head would go like that, but they fight against it to avoid getting whiplash when they cut those turns and things like that. There's a lot of exercise and a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes before you just get behind the wheel. Mm-hmm. But again, Anissa, very elementary. So during Creator Clash 1 and 2, Anissa was trying to use that platform to get in with Hassan and his posse. Creator Clash 3 rolls around, and everyone and their mother knew, oh fuck, this is a bad idea. But Anissa and Ian, being stubborn, decided, we're going to go ahead, we're going to go through with this. And when things seemed like, oh fuck, they're going to fail, well, Ian Jomha came out with the Content Cop. And when he came out with the Content Cop, it was kind of the same way. There wasn't any skits in the middle like in the previous ones, but it was labeled as a Content Cop, and people for years were clamoring, when are we going to get another Content Cop? When are we going to get another Content Cop? And the Content Cop was dropped in the middle of the live stream with of Ethan Klein's H3 live stream, that is. So things started picking up at that point. And you also have the content nuke. Now, the content nuke was released, I believe, prior to that. Yeah, it was released in January 31st, of 2025. The Content Cop was released April 16th, 2025. Now, after this Content Cop, and again, the content nuke was another thing. We'll get to in a second. But after that happened, Ethan Klein felt betrayed. He felt hurt, and he felt a certain way after that, because iDubbbz to him was his best friend. Mm-hmm. everyone knows this. They made content together for years. They were part of the old Cancer crew. If you name it, they were doing it. Like they had so much really just like sketchy content. Well, not sketchy, but like what's the term? Just edgy content.
Edgy. Yeah.
Hair cake. I can't watch that video. That video makes me puke. But there was other things that they did that really, whatchamacallit, that really, it was culture. It was YouTube culture for the longest of times. Now, as things progressed, what ended up happening is Ethan Klein then revealed that the content nuke, which was about Hassan Piker and the many egregious things that he had done on the internet, well, he revealed that, well, it was a trap. And he revealed that in June of 2025, June 19th, 2025. And he had stated that he was suing Kaceytron, Frogan, and Denims. Well, things would go on later, and Noah Samson would then go ahead and claim that Ethan Klein and a bunch of other content creators supported genocide. That is his YouTube video. It's the name of it is called "The YouTubers Who Backed a Genocide," and he put Ethan Klein in the thumbnail as well as mentioned him in the video as well. Now, what ended up happening, whatchamacallit? Well, so yeah, he mentions Ethan Klein in the video and tries to kind of defame his character. Well, I don't want to say that either because I don't want to get too much into that whole political thing. But
well, he was making accusations.
Yeah, he was making accusations against Ethan Klein. I'm not gonna say what he said versus what Ethan said. I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But after that, Ethan Klein felt some sort of way. So what did he do? Well, he went ahead and Ethan Klein sued him. So Ethan Klein is now suing him for defamation of character. Then it was reported that now Ethan Klein is suing iDubbbz. Well, that's weird. Why is he suing iDubbbz? Well, for a bunch of different reasons. But before we do that, we also had to add some of the context. Again, like I said before, he had set a trap for Kaceytron, Denims, and Frogan. Kaceytron, she quit. She said, I don't want nothing to do with this, so I'm going to settle. And then she had to make the hostage video. And that's what people are calling it. And it's just her with like a list. It was a court-ordered apology, and it just looks so bad for her. Then after that, there was Frogan.
Yes.
Frogan apparently never did anything that she had to do, so she lost the case by default. That's what's being reported. Frogan says, no, that's not true. Ethan Klein is like, no, the court said that. Frogan lost the case. But Hassan has also noted that Frogan might be going ahead and appealing that. So I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But Ethan Klein, when it comes to these lawsuits, like, we'll talk about the third one, which is Denims, which Denims won the tentative hearing. And Ethan Klein, again, win or lose, he lost the one to Denims. He has said as such, like, yeah, I lost it to her. So that's, but we're going about it trying to do something else to win this. So again, going based off of Ethan Klein and the track record so far when it comes to this whole process, he said Kaceytron settled. That video came out. He said Frogan lost, and she has yet to provide any type of evidence that she hasn't. And now he's saying, yeah, Denims won, and Denims is doing laps saying that she won. So to my knowledge, I would say I would trust Ethan Klein in this situation because he hasn't given me as far as like the verdict, not anything else, just the verdict of him saying like, I lost, I won, I lost, whatever. I trust him in this regard. Now, at the same time that this was announced, also pan of water, really good. At the same time that this was announced, again, the Noah Samson lawsuit was also mentioned, and the iDubbbz lawsuit has been mentioned. They both are for defamation. Noah Samson, it was for the claims of genocide, and for iDubbbz, it was for a tweet. And Evan, do you have that tweet?
I have Actually, I don't have the tweet. I do actually have his explanation, iDubbbz's explanation of
Mm-hmm.
So let me pull that up right now. I'm gonna share my screen. But this was during his live stream,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna watch a few minutes, or not a few minutes. Well, you know what I mean. All right, I'm gonna put this on full screen, and we're gonna press play.
It is official. I am being sued by Ethan Klein in the courts of Calgary, Alberta, for defamation. I do plan on fighting against this, but for now it is in the hands of the courts and our attorneys.
So, just for some context here, he put this out on his live stream, and pretty much put out the tweet, and that's how a lot of people knew about it, was because of of the tweet. He kind of just like, he's like, well, I'm being sued, and that's kind of how like everything with this caught fire, because not many people really expected the lawsuit to even happen. And people are like, wait, what happened? Like why is he being sued? Like what's going on? And then Ian comes out with him, explaining that he's being sued not in the United States but in Calgary, Canada.
I will say that it worries me what it means for the commentary community, and especially the Canadian commentary community. This is about all I can say, at least for now. I'm sorry that the stream is so short. I wish I could give you a lot more grease, but I will resume the regularly scheduled content.
That was the initial announcement, and he didn't really go into much detail because obviously he couldn't really
Yeah, and
say much. Yeah.
when you remove that, I have the official video. So this is when he was going ahead and being a VTuber with this dragon for God knows what reason, but here it is
On screen, just
There
so
we go.
the people aren't confused. Yeah, there we go.
And you hear Anissa in the background too. She totally supports this, because Anissa is just such a big brain individual. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
personally, this was my theory. We never talked about this, but this is my theory. The reason why he did the VTuber thing is because Anissa secretly wanted to direct him. That's my belief. She wanted to direct him what to say and what to do in this instance, and his reputation's already dog shit, so why does it matter? So she probably convinced him to make this dragon who has White Monster on the floor. So funny because of the meme with the Fight Club, the Goodfellas, Alex Jones is on the TV, mattress on the floor.
Her, yeah.
Yeah, a fucking comedic genius.
Oh my god.
Like so funny. So and now he has this tweet up, and here we go.
Okay, this is my
and if you read it, it's quick daily reminder that Ethan from H3H3 is likely a PDF file. We're changing words. Who has Mo Lester, first name Mo, last name Lester, his own children in Minecraft. So, to show that on your screen is just absolutely dumb. And this is iDubbbz talking about it.
Watermark for the stream. I don't want any of my content being stolen. Dude? Oh, I was just about to finally address Dude, it's Jude. They were like, dude, your mods are annoying. They're warning me for no reason. No.
Oh my god, dude, I'm getting brain rot.
Okay, Smaug, the shit dragon. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like this is fucking so stupid. But again, this is what happened. It was this fucking tweet right here that led to the situation that we're currently in, which is, again, Ethan Klein is now suing Ian Jomha.
Yes.
And it's just like, again, it's just such a stupid thing to do. Like, everyone could have told you that this is a bad idea. Like, why would you do that? And then we got another clip from the Stoic Chronicles here, and this is another Ian Jomha classic.
It's like Destiny's he's a piece of shit, and he has bad intentions. But he's going easy on this guy. Not going easy on Denims, Frogan, Kaceytron, Noah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Ethan and Ethan's family for putting that nasty Destiny comment out there.
Get off my fucking screen.
Yeah,
you
get off
win.
the screen.
Get
Jesus.
off the screen.
Yikes.
I don't want to. I don't want to
That's
jump.
very interesting though that he apologized.
Yeah. So he did apologize, but this,
Huh.
coincidentally enough, was after they received the cease and desist.
Ah, there you go.
So
Yeah.
Now this is where, again, like everything is there's so many moving pieces in this. That's why it's so complicated, because you have the 3 lawsuits with the 3 women of Kaceytron, Denims, and Frogan. That plays in it. Then you have Noah Sampson, who's in it too. Now you have iDubbbz.
Right.
Again, just a lot of moving pieces. And when it comes to iDubbbz in this current situation, this is the timeline. Again, it really, for iDubbbz and Anissa, it really started with Creator Clash, where Anissa pushed iDubbbz to do this event so then she could become a bread tuber, because she has a very elementary mind, and she thought, oh, if I can get in with these people, I can just do bullshit content where I sit there and talk about nothing and people will throw money at me. Believe it or not, people like Kaceytron because they think she's entertaining. Who thinks that? I have no fucking idea. But people do think that. People think Denims is interesting. Who the fuck thinks that? I don't know. I don't. And same thing with Frogan. I don't find any of them entertaining at all. It's not my.
They're shit tubers, if anything.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea. I watch gameplay stuff or people cover lolcows. That's my corner of the internet. You know, it's like women have 90-day fiance. I have Cyrax raging and calling Marty racial slurs. You know, call me crazy. Fine, I don't care. But
that's pretty fair, though.
Anissa broke it down very elementary, thinking that if she did this, she can get in with bread tubers. She could be entertaining, questionable, and then people would throw money at her. That was never going to be the case. That was never going to happen. Then, when the Creator Clash 3 came around, she thought, you know what, this still isn't happening. We're still not doing what we want. We're still not where we want to be. We have to go all in with Hassan. And that's ultimately where this boils down to. It's Anissa's weird obsession of Hassan, where she doesn't give a fuck about her husband, iDubbbz, at all. She only cares about Hassan. That's ultimately what it is. And people have called her out on it, and she hasn't outright come out and said, like, no, I love my... Like, I've never heard her once defend Ian and say, no, I love my husband. I've never heard that from her.
Right.
She'll tweet it out, and she'll tweet out like a fucking soliloquy, and then in the middle, I love my husband, and then goes back to like bitching about everything else. So it's just a really weird situation that they're in. But yeah, so they go ahead, they do that, they make the content cop, it falls flat. The whole community, everyone and their mother looks at it and says, this is garbage. They then get felted. They immediately come to the defense of Hassan when he shocked his dog, and they look even more stupid.
I know.
Now they do that stream. Ian does that stream with Anissa going, yeah, in the background, kind of egging him on to do it. They get the cease and desist. They apologize. Now they're being sued. That's the timeline ultimately. Now, do I agree with the suing? Evan, I'll ask you first.
I don't.
You don't? Okay.
I do not agree with the suing. And we will get into that more in a minute, but that is my answer.
I don't agree with it either.
Yeah.
I don't. We'll break it down in a little bit. Is there anything else that you wanted to throw in?
Yeah, so I am going to be, we are going to get into the next portion. So if you wanted to say anything before that, we're going to get into the Ethan of it all. And that's pretty much going to round out like our coverage. So if there is anything else, you can go ahead, Mitchell.
No, that's pretty much it. I mean,
All
it's just like that again. Like we already broke down the 3 lawsuits, the OG lawsuits, if you will, the hatred of Hassan, how far that goes back to the leftovers.
Right.
Yeah, we got everything.
Yeah. So now we're gonna get into the Ethan of it all. So I'm gonna share my screen. We're gonna go back. We're gonna go back here. So there are we're gonna do some timestamps, but there are some amazing quotes. Shout out once again to Awk 20,000, who is amazing, and I don't know how they do it, but they find all the best clips that you can possibly find. But here's where it boils down to in a couple of different ways. So what you're about to hear is you're about to hear his rationale for why he's suing in the first place. Now, as you can see, this is a comment that Destiny said. This is not something that iDubbbz directly said. He just put it up on the screen and just to make a point or whatever. And again, and we want to reiterate, he did apologize, but I personally do not accept this reasoning. I don't accept what he says or how he explains it, but I'm going to start playing for you right now, and you'll see why.
He does it as a watermark for his whole hours-long stream. It's a comment that says, "Quick daily reminder that Ethan from H3 is likely a pedophile who has molested his
PDF
own
file.
children." And
PDF.
he's basically rebroadcasting this comment uncritically. And also, if you kind of, I don't know how it works in Canada, if the complaint is public or what. But if you look at it, he emphasizes throughout that he does think it's a serious accusation that needs.
So he what he says is that he thinks that this is a claim that Ian is saying, but
So
in the video, he doesn't say anything about this comment.
So he does say some stuff, but not enough that I think warrants that. Like he does say it's a very interesting comment, and he does say that Ethan Klein is scared of Destiny, and he said
Right.
if this holds any like validity, he should be investigated. Ethan Klein, that is. But
That's fair. So he goes, why not Destiny? Well, it's because Ian put the comment up and yada 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 blah blah blah. Now here's the next section that I want to play.
After writing it, like nobody was like, "Yo, Destiny made this claim that Ethan molested his children." Oh shit! People knew that when Destiny said it was like, he was just being a dickhead. Or, I mean, he was being a giant fucking piece of shit, right? But he immediately afterwards made it clear that he didn't actually think that. But Ian took that, and just because you're showing what someone else said doesn't make it not defamation, because you're showing essentially this accusation bare of context and...
Okay. So, for context, we are going to break down a couple of things when it comes to defamation. Now, in the United States... how defamation works is you have to prove two basic things. Number one, is the statement that is being alleged as defamation, did that create a social or economic impact on the person? These two things go hand in hand in the United States. Why defamation suits usually fall through is because a lot of times there are instances where they cannot prove that a statement actually led to a financial cause or an impact on them financially. It has to. The parameters are very specific. And a lot of times there isn't a lot of standing. That's why it can be hard sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, to prove defamation in the United States. And a lot of that has to do with freedom of speech and our libel laws. Now, as for Canada, I had to look this up. And Canada has 3 different tenets that are not quite the way we do it here. So I'm just going to read this off. So in defamation law, you have to prove 3 main things. Number 1, you have to prove that the statement was communicated to at least 1/3 of a party. For online statements, publication occurs when it is downloaded or read by a third party. That's number 1. Number 2 is identification, or if the statement is explicitly or implicitly referring to the plaintiff or the subject in the statement. Number 3, defamatory meaning, which are the words used would intend to lower the plaintiff's reputation in the eyes of a reasonable, right-thinking member of society. So the standards are different, but as you can kind of infer, the standard is lower compared to the United States, where defamation has a monetary value to it. It's all about the money. In Canada, as I interpret it, it's all about if someone can prove that this ruined a person's reputation based on XYZ. Ethan, in my personal opinion, is taking this so far. He is going beyond the U.S. legal system, which he is under jurisdiction of. And because Ian is in Canada, he thinks, well, I'm just going to sue in Canada. I think I can make a really good case. But the problem, and here's where I have to complain, Mitchell, is that number one is he apologized for what happened. That's number one. But number two is that this is not a statement that Ian, directly said. It's not.
It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
It may not matter necessarily, but if you have legal standing, it means that the person has to directly reference that is what he's saying about that person. So
yeah, well, I mean, so this is what I would say. We have a platform. If we were to start saying something like, we say stuff about Cyrax all the time because it's true. It's been proven time and time again that he has a PDF. But if Cyrax was, let's say, who's another lol cow that's not known for crazy stuff like that? Like Truther 777. I think the guy's a lunatic. I think I think there's a little there, but I don't think there's PDF allegations against him. And if I threw PDF allegations against him and I put it up on the screen like that, that's one thing. Yes, I know the quote's not from him, it's from Destiny. And this is where I have a little bit of pushback. I see some people saying, well, the quote wasn't from him. It wasn't from him. But he put it out there. He spread the message. I know, don't shoot the messenger. But iDubbbz knew damn well what he was doing. He's not, he's stupid, but he's not an idiot, if that makes any sense. To put a message like that out there, this is a real, like in our film reviews, this is a real Anissa move.
It is a real Anissa move, and there's no question about that. But the question is, could you reasonably argue that this statement in this way actually made an impact on Ethan? Now, again,
so
the standard is lower. I argue it doesn't.
So I would say right now, Ethan, no, it doesn't. But he can go back and say, you know what? I've had enough of it. He's done this. And in the past, CPS has been called to my house.
Correct.
Because of allegations like this. So I'm not trying to necessarily argue with you whether something is right or wrong. I'm trying to tell you what I think is going to happen. I just want to make that very clear.
Sure.
As far as Ethan's, what he's going to try to do, I think he is going to try to push the narrative that he has been harassed by the snark Reddit that iDubbbz has frequently quoted, that he has taken material from, not only in the content cop, but on his stream. And then he takes something like this and he posts it out there, not just because, it's for fun, it's for shits and giggles, but to perpetuate a certain characteristic or a certain belief onto Ethan Klein. When you post something like that, you're really playing with fire. Like we play with fire a lot too. Like we post stuff about Chrissy Mayer, Melanie Mack, etc.
Right.
But we have evidence to back it up. I'll let you talk in a second. Let me just do this one thing. Like we back it up. So we'll go ahead. We'll play a clip of Chrissy Mayer going ahead and very interestingly only pulling out comments that are against Brittany Venti, calling Brittany Venti this, saying Brittany Venti's that, and Brittany called her out on the stream, and we called it out too before we saw Brittany Venti call her out. This is what Ethan is going to do. He's going to nitpick, and that's what his lawyer is going to do. They're going to nitpick certain things that iDubbbz has done, because people forget. Don't forget about the content deputy, where he doubled down and he said, yeah, you know what? The CPS calls, they were warranted. He did say that in the content deputy. All this stuff is going to be brought up. All of his live streams, Ethan Klein is getting clips. I mean, we saw him at the poker tournament when Anissa posted something on her story. He screenshotted it. That's what he does. Ethan Klein is very tactical in this, and he is obsessive. I mean, how many times has he posted about Hassan on his Instagram? Feels like every morning I check his Instagram and it's Hassan. He's on a warpath. I kind of respect it, I wish I knew a love as strong as Ethan Klein hates Hassan. I wish I knew a love that strong. So again, it just boils down to Ethan Klein has content deputy, all the live streams, and this one specifically where he puts that tweet out there. That's what iDubbbz is going to have to try to overcome from this. And then you have Anissa. Anissa is such an idiot. She talks all the time, and she talks out of her ass. She doesn't know what she's doing. So she's going to do the same exact fucking thing that she always does, which is just clamor on about something stupid and make things even worse. She's so elementary in her thought process. But sorry, I know you were trying to say something. I just wanted to finish that.
Doesn't matter. No, I didn't realize you weren't pissed. So, I hear you. I think that your reasoning makes sense. I think that there's a lot of different factors, a lot of different things. But here's where I have some issues, not with what you said, but just generally with what Ethan is doing here. I mean, first of all, as I said earlier, I think that it is very irresponsible and callous to go around the U.S. legal system by going directly to Canada. And I think he knew going in, and his lawyers knew as well, that if they got him in Canada because he's in Canada, that they could possibly win this case. That's number one. However, when it comes to what is going on here, this could have been resolved if literally you didn't have a lawsuit on your hands and you dealt with it like fucking adults. Like you actually, like, freedom of speech is one of the easiest things you could possibly do, and yet it's so misunderstood by so many different types of people. What Ethan is doing right now, or yesterday as of this recording, during his live stream, and even every day in general, he exercises freedom of speech every single day. He comments on other people's shit. He replies to people that comment on him in return. It literally could have been as simple as that. He literally got an apology from Ian about putting that statement up on the screen. He has nothing, and I mean nothing, to gain from suing him in Canadian court. And people rightly are complaining that if he were to win this lawsuit, it could set a very dangerous precedent for the Canadian commentary community, because we already have a very high standard when it comes to freedom of speech. Canada has a different standard, and it's not the same because there is no monetary value attached to it, as I have said. I think that it is so irresponsible, and he, the quartering and DSP, what are they all doing? What do they all have in common? They are all going after people who criticize them or talk about them in negative ways. The difference with Ian in this particular instance isn't so much that he's abusing the copyright claiming system, although you could argue he could be a part of that. He is going even further by saying, no, you can't talk about me like that, and I'm going to sue you for it. So I think it's a much more malicious action because of that. And I think that it is very irresponsible. I think it's morally wrong and reprehensible. I think that and let me talk about the warpath for a second. I think it is so bizarre that he has incredibly obsessive thoughts about Hassan, and more so now he has obsessive thoughts over Ian. This actually segues very well into the next thing I wanted to do. He put out an Instagram post, and I just want to show you, like, do you think that this is the like writings of a person who might be mentally well? I mean, Mitchell, look at the text, and I'm going to read to you a few sentences right now. So it says, when CPS was called on my family a year ago, the rules of engagement have completely changed for me. A snark community fabricated a lie that my children were crawling around in dog, and eating it. An agent came to my home at 8 a.m., blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Ian was a friend of mine for many years, blah, blah, blah. Destiny said it on Discord chat in passing and was on screen for a few hours, blah, 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 blah. He has been saying the same lines every single day on his stream, on his social media posts, literally since the day it happened. That was probably what, a few months ago at this point, something like that. But it's and it's to say that, you know, and here's he wanted to clarify something. So this is something that he put out on Instagram as well. There is a lot of confusion about the Denims lawsuit, so allow me to clarify. I hadn't commented on it because it's not over. The judge issued a tentative hearing ahead of our Friday hearing. The judge had since heard our oral arguments and is yet to issue his final ruling, at which time I will discuss it on the show. It seems foolish to jump to a conclusion before there is one. And this is something that he has been known for many, many years. He has this kind of, I don't know what you'd call it necessarily. It's kind of a complex. But whenever he thinks that he's in the right and everybody else is in the wrong, he will dig in his heels and he will put it out there and say, no, you're wrong, I'm right, this is what we're doing. And in the past, his actual fan base has called him out on it, and he has shat on them, which resulted in many people unsubscribing to the H3 podcast. This is the kind of mindset that Ethan has. And the fact that he is now taking this particular lawsuit against Ian way further than it really needs to be, it just shows you how off the deep end he really has gone.
Mm-hmm. This is manic.
It's very manic. I agree. Yes.
Yeah. I don't even know really what to say. I mean, it's just, we've talked about it. Like I said before, it's just like, give it a rest. Give it a rest.
Yeah.
Man. Live life.
Yes.
It's really just, it's so strange. You know, I get the I get the part about the kids being involved. You know, that I don't agree with. I think leave families out of it, leave the kids out of it, especially if you have a problem with someone, take it up with them. Don't don't bring the kids into it. That's where I draw the line. Leave the friends and the family out of it. Just take it up with that person. Like with Ian and Anissa, it's different because they are kind of they're together and they both are internet personalities.
Right.
But again, I digress.
So before we get into some of the other reactions to what is going on, I just want to play this portion of Ethan's explanation for the lawsuit. He had just pulled up the comment on the screen, and you can just tell there's no rationale for this. There is no true like, oh yeah, that makes sense explanation. So watch it.
I don't know Destiny, by the way. I literally don't know Destiny as much as people want to acknowledge that, like, me, or want me and Destiny to be like deep, interconnected friends. I don't even know Destiny. So it was a comment in passing he made. I don't know the guy. And he immediately clarified that he's kidding. Ian, who I know, who's been to my house, met my children, kept it, broadcast it over his screen for his whole show. And yeah, so
again, notice that he could not defend his own rationale for why he's doing what he's doing. Well, I don't know this. He just did it in passing. So yeah, so Ian's gonna get the, he's gonna catch a stray just because of what Destiny said and because he put it up on the screen. Again, I want to reiterate, he apologized for it. He said, I regret doing it. Okay? This is like, I'm losing my freaking brain. All right, now we're going to get into some of the reactions. Moist Critical, who was a major, well, he's an Ian he's basically an Ian ally as far as I'm aware. He put his foot down and says, I'm going to fucking talk about this. This is getting over. This is going way beyond the pale, totally, completely overboard. And so I'm going to play a few different parts right here. I'm going to put it on full screen, and we're going to hear from Mr. Moist Critical right now.
Of it. I have never and will never be a fan of extreme litigation, and I have always been vocally advocating against creators going that nuclear path, and I always will. Of course, there are cases where it is understandable. Like I said, going after the snarkers that sent a fraudulent CPS thing through and the skulls and stuff, that one I do understand. But this one, I could never support that. And I just can't see the real just cause behind it.
So he says it pretty plain. There was shitty actions that occurred, but he took it too far. And and the fact that people are talking about it more so than at any other point, like not even the Kaceytron, Denims, Frogan saga, like, yeah, there were people on Twitter who were, butthurt about it and they thought, oh, this was terrible. But big name creators, they stayed out of that shit. Now this is real. Now this is like, oh, this is going to actually impact a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
This is some bad fucking dog shit, and then I'm going to go to the next timestamp right now, right here. It's loading. Shit. Come on now. Come on. Don't do this to me, Twitter.
There's better protections here, no doubt, but still, if they take from this that maybe the way to fight battles online is to go the litigious route, well, then it's just a huge mess across the board. I think it is just a very bad precedent. Even if, the lawsuit doesn't end in a victory for him, this way of engaging with discourse, I think, has always been frowned upon, but for some reason is starting to get some more support behind it, and I just fully disagree with it. I think that this is genuinely just a, big threat across the board to just the entire space. Like, if discourse becomes, fearful of, litigation flying back and forth, it's going to stifle a lot of voices and stifle some very, legitimate criticism down the line. It's just not something I want to see become commonplace.
Now we're going to get into this one surprised me, Mitchell, I will say. This is Anthony Fantano. Anthony Fantano, not only is he disavowing Ethan, he goes way further than that. And I will tell you, I have been very surprised what he's about to say.
I feel bad and I regret ever having platformed you and had you on my own channel on a podcast and pushed people in your direction, because you turned around and ended up doing this. And again, I'm not even talking about whatever sort of political or ideological sort of, disagreements you may have with these individuals or that I may have with you. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about you're literally using your platform and literally using these petty disagreements, your own emotions that you're so tied up in this situation, to destroy the very industry that we all operate within.
He says it plain. He says it plain.
I don't like that quote. I hate that quote. I think it's stupid. Give an example. I don't like when people speak in broad strokes like that.
Okay.
What exactly is it about it, Anthony Fantano? For a guy that's so specific about a bunch of things, and he's always talking about the melody of music, and he breaks it down to a science. Don't just say oh, I hate that I platformed you. I hate that I did this. I hate that I did that. I don't think that he technically obliterates him. I don't see that. I don't think he obliterates him. I think if he had said, Ethan, you said on my show that you don't want to go ahead and bring people to court. Here you are bringing people to court. Yeah, sure. Maybe saying yeah, I should have never platformed you. I sure, maybe. I don't really see that as really obliterating.
No, and I don't agree with the wording of the tweet.
Yeah,
I just wanted to show that was his response.
Yeah. But yeah, to anyone, it's if you're going to say anything, bring the receipts.
I agree. I will say, though, that I do agree with this person. Shout out to Wrench of Chaos. He puts it pretty plain, and we've said it. In the beginning, I thought it was funny because I thought it was a little poke. Yeah, he abuses power, but just once towards some idiots who probably deserved it. But then he kept going and going, and it stopped being funny and became a problem. Now he's a menace.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily go that far. I think he's overdoing it, sure, but I wouldn't say he's being a menace until he let's say if he goes for someone outside of the orbit for lack of a better term. Like, let's say someone like Mudahar or some ordinary gamer said something about Ethan Klein and he did it, then I would say he's being a menace. Where he's just attacking people within the orbit, they just have a feud that's just going to keep going until someone dies or they come to an agreement. That's really ultimately what it boils down to. That's one thing I hate about Twitter. Everyone's so dramatic. Everything is always, oh, he's going to die. This is going to happen. All this stuff is going to boom. It's,
right.
I hate that shit.
Yeah,
that's just my personal belief.
Well, I think some people can't help but speak in generalities, and we don't do that here on the show. We pull out the receipts, we get specific. Even if we're wrong, we're always going to own up to it. And this is Twitter, after all. It's going to happen.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But point taken, absolutely. And I'm not going to challenge you on that. Now, this next part actually has to do with the live stream that we saw clips from. And it just shows you what, where his headspace at and where he always had his headspace at. And I'll get to my final thoughts in a minute. However, there is a e-gaming commentator, a well-known figure within the YouTube community. His name was Total Biscuit. Total Biscuit was one of the most popular people within that space. Unfortunately, in 2018, he passed away from rectal cancer. And I saw a clip from Ethan, which we'll get to in a second. But before we get to that clip, his wife calls out something that happened where WatchMojo.com made a video called 10 YouTubers who made videos when they knew they were dying. And she said that for her husband to be monetized in this way is so gross and repugnant and entirely unacceptable, especially plugging an AI slop music project, and that they should be ashamed of themselves. Well, Ethan did cover this on his podcast, and it's bad. And there are layers to this, so we'll get to why it's bad in a second. But let me just pull it up really quickly. This is a clip that is on the Reddit. That's what the kids call it. Is the Reddit. This is him. Sort of. I would say it was really a failed attempt at a joke, but yeah, you might want to brace yourselves, folks.
Coming in at number 1, Total Biscuit died of rectal cancer. Yeah. Here he is saying goodbye.
Jesus Christ.
It's so.
So it's just okay. So first of all, to make a joke like that about someone dying of rectal cancer, I think it is unacceptable. I understand that he tried to be like satirical and edgy. I personally listen, you can joke. The comedy is subjective. You can joke about whatever you want. People are going to find all sorts of fucked up shit funny, right? At the end of the day, my thing is this: if a person dies of a disease in such a heinous, horrible way, and you don't get permission to joke about them, then they're off limits. That's really it. I just think that what he did was really disgusting, and especially talking about this, in the same stream among many other stories, he talked about the defamation lawsuit, and now he's joking about someone who he had as a guest on his show, someone who he platform hat on, whatever you want to call it. He had Total Biscuit on his show. He respected him at that point in time, and now he's just going to make fun of him for what? A petty little joke like that. I just think it's so gross. It's so gross, and he has been going down this manic rabbit hole for a very long time. I know we've been kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt, and we can give people the benefit of the doubt when they deserve it. Now he's taking it too far. And what he is doing, and what he's been doing, and what he thinks he can get away with, and say we as a show will say that it is unacceptable. He's just doing shit for the sake of doing shit, and he does need to, consequences have actions, pimp. He needs to be held accountable. I think that it is so incredibly insensitive and callous what he's doing, and he's not thinking about anyone other than himself.
Okay. So I got some stuff here. I'm going to share my screen. So I got Triple P. When he heard about this was Triple P's initial reaction. Ian Washburn once said, either all speech is okay or none of it's okay. The implication being in a free society, we must tolerate some speech we find distasteful, disgusting, or even untrue in order to preserve our general liberties. I'll scroll down a little bit. Ian Jomaha has since stated that after he matured, he believes none of it is okay, and any speech that offends anyone for any reason is unacceptable and should be punished. He moved to Canada, a country that sadly agrees with his newfound views. It is hard to find any sympathy for the position he finds himself in, especially considering he has signal boosting, perhaps the worst thing you could say about anyone, let alone a former best friend. That they skip that their own children in context where CPS had been called for BS reasons, and you justified the CPS call to millions of people.
Mm-hmm.
He smugly believed, because he was on the right side of history, that his victory was inevitable, and any despicable tactic was justified against enemies of progress, in parentheses, whoever disagrees with Hassan, or whoever Hassan disagrees with, close parentheses. There is much
Schadenfreude.
Yeah, that took me for a loop. To relish in seeing someone who believes other speech should be silenced, being silenced themselves. It is very easy for me to laugh at this situation and say, you reap what you sow, or consequences have actions, pimp, and play stupid games, win stupid prizes. However, it doesn't change the fact I believe the same things that Ian once believed. I want a society where people feel free to criticize anyone or anything, no matter how rich or powerful they may be, where people can make jokes and offend anyone without fear of financial ruin or imprisonment. Private attacks or speech are just as serious as attacks from the state. None of us want to live in a world where rich, petty, private tyrants like Ethan Klein can police speech and silence criticism with lawfare and produce a chilling effect on broader expression. I cannot, for those reasons, support this lawsuit in principle. I was born a Canadian citizen, and I have no choice but to live under the tyranny of these laws that one day may be used to silence me and destroy my livelihood. iDubbbz, however, has an easy solution to all of this. All he has to do is simply move back to America into the loving embrace of freedom and Donald Trump. The lawsuit judgment will be unenforceable against him from a foreign state due to the Speech Act. Afterwards, he should repent of being a tyrannical, freedom-hating, can't say that, and kiss the soil in America with joy, treasuring the freedom that so many others in the world will never have. He does not need your donations or even moral support, because all he needs to do is go home. He would never do the same for any of us either. I am an internet clown for a living, basically a professional troll, and so don't want to have to be serious and shouldn't be taken as such. But if you wanted my non-shitpost take, here it is. Now, of course, we have Anissa. Would go ahead and reply to this.
Here comes trouble.
Get it up. Let's get it up.
Let's get ready to rumble. Ding, 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 ding.
Anissa, this fat yogurt-faced moron doesn't understand that if Ethan wins it means him and his buddy could be sued by many creators in the near future.
Oh my God.
So we have readers added context they thought people might want to know. In the post, she is directly quoting quote tweeting Triple P status states private attacks on speech are just as serious as attacks from the state. I cannot for those support this lawsuit in principle. Did you find it helpful? I already said yes. There we go. Also, why are you writing a book? Try to try and square him into a comfortable position you think will keep favor with your fans and looming threat of Ethan's or others' attention. So here we go. Triple P responded, please try to actually read before commenting next time, Anissa, ... This website has sources that can help you learn to read. Hope this helps. Canadian Children's Literacy Foundation. Let's go.
God bless you, Triple P. You're doing the Lord's work. We got to get literacy up in this country and in your country too, in Canada.
Yep.
Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful.
I got one last thing. So I'm going to show one last tweet, and then I have a video. But let's remember that Anissa is very much against, suing people for speech.
Right.
Remember that. She is against suing people for speech. On the basis that Anissa Jomha cannot read, I now fully support Ethan Klein and Lex Juthering them. I would also remind Anissa that veiled legal threats can be returned in kind and that she made numerous defamatory statements under Canadian law regarding our show. I would remind her that saying, I heard this or someone else said is the same under Canadian law as saying it yourself. I tried to be nice and stand by my ideals on speech, but nothing other than total submission is acceptable to these people. They genuinely believe they never did anything wrong or ever, and that everyone needs to suck them off. Fuck them and fuck the people carrying water for them, including myself. I was wrong. They hate freedom and would and would love nothing more than to use laws to silence others. Just ask Froggy. Froggy Fresh. I zoomed in on it by accident. Going forward, I will be giving them the worst punishment I can. No more attention. Thanks for reading.
Good. Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
But let me pull up one more clip. Again,
Okay.
Anissa is very much against suing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got this. It's very interesting.
Reach out to me. If you know like a good Singaporean lawyer, something like that, it'd be nice to try and figure out if I could pursue litigation of sorts. Bro, Singapore is one city and they killed 17 people in a year via their justice system. Yes. You are giving him content for 7 years, my guy. I kind of feel like I'm not giving him content here. I kind of feel like this might be. I don't know if I'm giving him content for 7 years or if he's going to prison for 7 years.
Okay, pause it.
So Hassan
Hassan is talking about the YouTuber More Pegasus who has been constantly covering Hassan.
Yep. Every stream, everything he does,
Yep.
he covers it and he criticizes him.
Mm-hmm.
And he does it in a way where it's comedic and he points out everything that he says that is wrong. So and he brings up clips of Hassan to counter Hassan. So, but I think it's very funny that Hassan is, trying to sue someone who is using their platform to criticize another person in Hassan, and Anissa has nothing to say about this. And this is on par with the fact that Ethan Klein, all he asked Anissa and Ian to do is to say, hey, listen, you guys have been over to my house. Can you just tell these crazy people that I'm not this terrible, terrible person, that my kids don't eat shit off the floor? That's all I'm asking for.
Right.
And they were like, no, we don't want to do that. But as soon as Hassan shocked his dog, Anissa immediately went on there and said, no, he just has a really good place command.
And it's like, no,
he shocked the dog.
Yeah.
We saw him reach. We saw the clicker, whatever, the controller.
We had 3 videos covering this.
Yeah.
How much more can you ask for?
Yeah, and just to make it clear, like, we're not in the realm where we're just like, oh, we're always Ethan Klein. No, if we think you're wrong, we're gonna point it out. Like, you're a fucking idiot.
That's right. No, and I always was anti-Ethan. Like, I always was. I may not have been as vocal about it on the show, but I was. And now I'm like, fuck you, we're gonna do this shit, and I'm saying it.
Yeah, Evan was actually like the one that kind of like spearheaded this, and he was like, we want to go ahead and we want to do this. And I push back a little bit on certain things, not because I'm an H3 fan, but because I think that you can find common ground with anyone.
Sure.
And on top of finding common ground with anyone, I think you can also go ahead and what's the term I'm looking for? I think you can find the truth in anything. Like, even with Hassan, I think there are certain things that Hassan has said that I've said, okay, I support that.
Sure.
And I'm not a Hassan supporter at all. I think that I think the way he lives, preaching to everyone else that they should live within their means while he lives in a mansion, I think it's cowardice. I think he's also childish with a lot of his mannerisms and the way that he views life. This is not a guy that cares about his fellow man. He just cares about his status. I've said that before.
True.
And Ethan Klein, I think he's a guy that is also just kind of a little batshit crazy, where he obsesses over Hassan. He goes ahead and he's trying to do anything and everything that he can to attack him and to make him look bad.
Yeah, and he's the kind of person who obsesses over anybody who slights them or demeans them or, wronged them in some way. I have met and I've known, and you, I'm sure Mitchell, have known many people who they have these obsessive thoughts, and all they want is vengeance. All they want is to get back at them and whatever. And Ethan is following in that tradition. And he is doing it, and he's just being shitty. Hassan's shitty, Ethan's shitty, Ian is shitty, and so is Anissa, and she's a real Anissa move. That's just a fact. I think that what it really comes down to with this episode, and what I argue really is that you have to acknowledge what Ethan did wrong, because there was a lot that what Ethan did wrong. But at the end of the day, a lot of people did a lot of things pretty badly. So I think it was good to
both sides sucked.
Every side,
Yeah, both sides sucked. But most importantly, you got to remember,
you best stick to them books, because mark my words on this: vengeance is an idiot's game.
Ain't that the truth? Okay, well, I think that'll do it for the episode. Mitchell, any final thoughts on the defamation lawsuit against iDubbbz?
I hate both sides. I hope they both sue each other out of existence.
Yes, and maybe someday the world will be a better place.
And I hope Anissa deletes her Twitter. She just needs to stay. She needs to stay off the fucking internet.
Elon, do your job.
Yeah, Elon,
do your job, Elon.
Please. And
please do your job.
Who's like the main person at Blue Sky? I don't know who's like the main representative, but whoever it is, don't let her on there either.
Whoever you are at Blue Sky, take her down.
Mark Zuckerberg, take her down on Facebook.
Mark Zuckerberg, any of them. Jack, whatever your name was, who's the former, founder of Twitter, whatever.
Yeah, like I'll say this, Frogan has said some really messed up stuff. Kaceytron just gets high as shit all the time. Yeah, and I have watched her stuff and kind of laughed a little bit. Like, bro, she's so like when they showed the content nuke, she was like, "What the fuck's going on?" What? Bro, we watched that. I was dying, dude. I was like, no fucking way.
I couldn't believe it was real when I first saw it. I was like, no. And she was always like that, by the way.
Yeah, she's always like that. Yeah,
always. Even though I saw her very first video on YouTube, and I'm like, no. But she wasn't on camera at the time. Now, but that's either here nor there. So thank you for joining us today. Be sure to hit like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. We are going to say this every so often, but stay tuned for a special announcement on our second channel. We are working very hard to establish some new content that sometimes doesn't go well over here on the main show, but may get an audience there. We will have an official announcement very soon. But until then, we will see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.
Yep.